Right, good evening, everybody. How you doing, guys? Hope everybody is well. Just wait a couple of minutes for a few people to sort of join us late. But yeah, tonight it's all about content creation, and bit of theory, and then I'm going to show you a few tips that I use actually to help me create boatloads of content as an army of one. So let's have a look, see who's in the chat. I would just say hi. And as we're waiting for a few people to jump in, maybe just share in the chat any challenges you guys have around content creation. You know, what is it that you guys are struggling with? And then as we sort of break up through this, if there's nothing that's, if I've not covered it in the talk as we go through, you know, I'm happy to pick up some questions and bits and pieces as we go through. So yeah, fire it all in and let's see how we do. So Heather, sticking to a schedule and actually posting. Yeah, okay, I get that. I could definitely help you with that one. And creating the content that I've already scheduled. It's very, very common problem. Very, very, very common problem. Yeah, absolutely, we'll cover that off. So we're here for about an hour tonight. It may go on a little bit because there's quite a lot to go through, but you know, we'll try and stick to the time as much as possible. So I will, on that note, get cracking. So right then, quickly share my screen with you. There we go. So tonight, what I'm going to walk you through is essentially the Ascetic Entrepreneur's playbook. So. And I've built this up over the last few years, and it's how we work, how we create content. And there are a few different ways I've learned over the time, basically just to help speed up, but also I help break it down for you, so you're more effective in the content you create. And there are some amazing tools that are changing the way that content's created. And I don't think many of you will have not heard of Chat GPT and AI tech that's really revolutionizing the way content is made. So I'm going to take you through a couple of tools I use on the AI side to help really speed me up. But also I'm going to give you a few watch outs with AI, because it's not a panacea. It is not a massive, solution to all of your problems. It is absolutely a fantastic tool to use, but you need to be cautious with it. You absolutely need to be cautious with it, and I'll show you why. So, creating content. So before we jump into creating content, okay, there are a couple of things that we need to consider. And one of them is it's about your mindset. And one of the challenges I often see about people creating mindset, about sort of creating content, is it's not an option. It is a fundamental part of business. You know, sales and marketing is a fundamental part of the business. And I know it's difficult sometimes, and it's challenging putting yourself out there. Authenticity is absolutely key in your communications. And you've just got to choose really which business you want to be. What kind of Thor are you? And I think get a little bit focused, a bit aggressive maybe, and a little bit engaged in coming up with sort of campaign-driven methodologies, but really just leaning into content creation, because it is what's going to make the difference between success and failure. And a lot of this came out of the pandemic. So I'm not going to go through these in absolute detail, because you can have access to this slide deck and read through it. But for the benefit of time, I'm going to kind of speed through and just pull out the highlights. But essentially, what happened after the pandemic is the use of digital media for wider reach has become so much more important. Beforehand, people made a lot of money through just as clients came in and you treated them one-to-one. You could talk about treatments and products, and a lot of that now has moved into talking about experiences, transformations, your skills. It's about engagement rather than actually numbers of people that you've got in your community, and it's about establishing leadership. And one of the things I think about creating compelling content is it shows you as being a leader in your market. The world went digital over that time, and you know, we did massively in Aesthetic Entrepreneurs during that whole period. And obviously, I know a lot of people did. But the reality of it is the tools that we've got at our disposal, it has never been easier to connect to a amazing audience of millions. But the trick is what do we talk about and how do we share? And this is what I often find when I'm looking out there, and I scroll through the Instagram feed, and because I follow a lot of you, my feed is pretty much the same as probably a client would see. And what I often see is a lot of sales messages rather than marketing messages. So the difference between a sales message and a marketing message is, for me, a sales message is about buying. So buy my shit versus let's be friends. And if you look at these two scenarios here, you know, there's nothing wrong with either of them. The one that, you know, on the blue on the left-hand side, you know, our clinic has a treatment that's really good at helping people, and we can help you. You should buy from us because we won all sorts of awards, and here's a list of all things we do and the prices. You can also have a discount if you buy from me now. Okay, and that's one approach. The approach I think you should be taking is making friends with people before you sell to them. So in this scenario, we understand the challenges you have and the goals you want to achieve. We also understand you have lots of fears and questions. Over the years, we've helped hundreds of people like you, and we've created this amazing video blog podcast with 10 top tips to help you. One that will just draw people in. And obviously that is around the content creation. So we've got to be strategic about what it is we're approaching and take a broader approach to it rather than just going straight down the buy my shit approach, as opposed to let's be friends. But obviously none of this matters if you don't actually create the content. And again, one of the questions that came in is that's some of the challenges that people have, actually physically creating the content. So let me just try and make this a little bit so you can see the bottom. I didn't realize you can't see the bottom of the screen. Just bear with me 1 second. I'll just adjust this a little bit. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So hang on. I'll also make my head slightly smaller so you can see all of that. There we go. Cooking on gas. So think like a business. And one of the best tips, or a bit of insight, I guess, feedback, what's the word I'm looking for? Advice. There you go. That's the word I've ever was given is, if you're going to be in business, be in business. Business has three different parts to them: sales and marketing, operations, and finance. You know, we have to get new clients in, we have to serve those customers to the best of our ability, and then we have to look after the money, make sure we're profitable. No sales, no money. There's no service, there's no money, and if there's no profit, there's no money. And marketing is right at the front of it, and content is right there. And obviously, the better that you are at all of this, the more money you will make. Pretty obvious stuff. Now, for me, content starts at this point, which is about building trust. And if your clients trust you to solve their problems, then you don't actually have to sell. They buy from you. And obviously the question there was, well, you know, how do we help them? How do we know they can help them solve their problems? Well, first thing is you got to tell them. How do we tell them? That is an interactive question. Stick it in the chat. How would you tell them how you can solve their problems? What's one of the key ways that you do it right now? Just pop it in the chat for me. Show them. Yeah, absolutely. Demos, tutorials, interactive content. Yeah. How else? I gave you a clue with the earlier slide. It's videos, blogs, podcasts. There's all sorts of different ways that you can show them and tell them, and how that all builds trust. And that is essentially sales and marketing. You know, said to go back to basics and fundamentals. Better are at this, the more money you'll make. Now, set the scene. One of the mistakes I see quite often is in the whole content creation process is it's rushed, which is, in a sense, it's like, right, I don't know what to talk about, so I'm just going to put something out. But if you break it down into different stages, into these 3 areas, it will actually help you to be much more effective in the type of content you're creating. So first thing is strategy. What are we trying to say? How are we going to say it? Second is production. And then the third is distribution. And this is it's still very fundamental stuff. But strategy, production, distribution, those are the 3 steps that we have to take. And if you break it down and you think about it in those 3 individual steps, it actually becomes a lot easier for you to manage. So in this playbook, as I'm showing you through, is first thing you want to do is understand the challenges and the goals of your client so well that you become accustomed to regularly creating relevant content that engages and builds trust. So you understand the challenges and client goals, so you become accustomed, and it's become cyclical. Now, the first thing we need to do really is understand what the challenges and goals of the client are. So the strategic part of it is the first is have a plan, then we create the content and then share it on all relevant platforms. As I say, apologies for speeding through this, but I have got quite a bit to get to, but I'll I'll pause for breath in a little bit. So the strategic aspect of it, 3 parts to it. Who are you talking to? What is the problem that they have? What do you want to say? And what do you want them to then do with that information that you've given them? So, from our point of view, it's like, here's Kelly, one of our clients. She's overwhelmed. Hi, Kelly, I can help you. Then the next step is, right, we'll find out how. So if you need to understand who you're talking to, that's the first problem. Second one is, well, what's the challenge that they have? Then what do you want to say to them? And then what action do you want them to take? And what action is called the call to action. And having a really strong call to action makes your content really effective. So there is a full process around customer avatars. And has anybody actually done any real work? Just do this for a show, just a why in the chat. If you've done any real work in understanding who your target client is, be interested to know. Just pop a Y if yes and an N if you haven't. Why? Excellent, good. Well, a few of my clients, so you should have done. So great. I always think go back over and over and over again your ideal client, because it will change. You'll end up with more insight. But if you don't know who it is, you're marketing pretty blind. And the way that we work through creating that customer avatar is simple. It's just questions. And again, I'll give you access to all of this. So you can kind of go through the questions and say, if you've done some work on this before, that's fantastic. And if you haven't, this will help. And if you have, this will probably maybe help you dig in a little bit more. But really, we want to be looking at 3 aspects of it. One is sort of a social economic perspective. Where are they? Who else is serving our clients? Are they married? What are the drains on their resources? What's their financial situation? The social economic avatar. Then we want to have a look at what their goals are, and specifically, actually, what's stopping them from achieving those goals. Because again, when we get that sort of level of insight, it enables us to create content that really hits them and hits them emotionally. And then also their challenges, what's keeping them awake at night. And again, what is it stopping them from helping them solve those challenges? Because in those questions there, that's where the real insight is. And ultimately, when you think about it, we can be quite superficial in our marketing, or we can actually dig in quite deep. And when you understand the reasons why people are not able to achieve their goals or solve the problems, then you hit a real emotional payoff. And for me, the best kind of marketing communicates emotionally to people. So once we've understood all of those things, then we can create the solution. So how can we help them solve those problems, and how can we help them achieve their goals? And if you think about what we've just been through, that will give you probably 40 to 50 content topic points, if you wrote answers for each question. And those are your topic points. And then essentially you're creating content that is absolutely bang on relevant for your target client. And that's the key. Relevance is important. It's not about often what we want to create. It's about what's going to resonate with our market. And resonance is an important word, because often what we want to do is resonate with the right people, but also be dissonant with the others. So we're attracting our ideal clients, but we're actively repelling those who are not right for us. And this is where sometimes when I see people doing offers like financial discounting or anything like that, that will repel people who are not tuned in to price. So and it's quite quickly, it's amazing how quickly it happens, where you can spend a lot of time building up trust with the right type of client who aren't financially motivated, they just want the quality outcome, and then you throw an offer straight in there, and immediately, bang, it puts them off. So that's why strategy is so important, and making sure that we stick to our guns when we're doing all of this. Language that you use, speaking your client's language, looking at websites with overly technical terms when you're talking about your products and services. Don't use them. Try and simplify it. Listen to the words that your clients are saying. What are the quotes that they're doing? How do they describe their problems? How do they describe their solutions? The more you use their language, the more you connect with them. So when you're treating, get into the habit, if you're not doing it already, of actively listening. When you're asking the questions, listening to the terms that they use, the questions that they ask you. And have a little notebook in your pocket or somewhere in the clinic, that when you hear something that's really, an interesting phrase or something like that, write it down. I do this when I'm coaching you guys. When I hear some phrases or anything coming back, and that's a really interesting way of putting it, I've not heard that before, I'll write it down, because then that gives me my marketing messages. All clear so far? I know I'm going fast. Is this okay? Give me a sort of a thumbs up if this is all good. Cool. Excellent. So the strategic aspects of it. So, we now know the first aspect of it is like, who are we talking to? We know what the problem is. What do we want to say? And I gave you some tips then. You've got 40 different topic points that you can mention, but you've got insight. Now what we want to be doing is moving people down a conversation funnel. And here is a really simple thing you can do is, and it just as a tip right there, is take your top 5 treatments, go to a website called answerthepublic.com, and put those treatments in there, take the top 5 questions and start there. If you get that website, Answer the Public, is basically it's all the top questions that are asked in Google. And if you take those questions, put it into there, you'll start to get a lot of insight. But this is a really, really simple thing to start. And remember, if you understand the goals, fears, challenges, aspirations, you'll never be unsure of what content to create, because once you understand those, you build trust so much faster than someone who's just talking about the treatments that they do or the products that they use. I'm not saying that you don't talk about those as well, but don't talk exclusively about them. And if you want to have a bit of fun, go and Google your competitors and have a look at what are they saying? What's the message they're giving out? What do you get from it? Is it human, or are they just talking about products and services? So what the final step is, what do we want them to do? What's the actions that we want them to take? So the actions, that's called the call to action, and content comes in different flavors. Read, watch, listen, and do. And if you jump onto, I'll put a link into my Instagram. And if you have a look at my Instagram, I've got a link tree in my bio. And in my link tree, you've got all the things there are for you to read, to watch, to listen, and to do. And another way of thinking about these things is they're all lead magnets. You might have heard of the term lead magnet. A lead magnet is basically something just to engage with someone enough so you can collect some data from them. Data you might want is their email address. Generally, that's the sort of thing you want them to capture them. So then you can move them into your emailing list and then communicate with them outside of social media. It's got to have a funnel. Or you want them to maybe drop you a message. So that's the sort of data you'll want to capture. But obviously the objective in all of this is you design your funnel to build as much trust as you can. And Google did some research called the 0 moment of truth. And their research said that basically to build trust with someone online, you need to have about 7 hours of content on 4 different platforms across 11 touch points. So essentially you're looking at this, you could have your 4 different platforms. So you could have a blog on your website, you could have a YouTube channel, you could have a podcast, and you could have a quiz or some sort of interactive content. And then if you just imagine creating an email nurture campaign that basically just leads people through your read, to watch, listen, to do, they're building trust all the way through. And I look at it as a path that ticks all the sensory boxes. People like to be communicated with in different ways. So if you can create, maybe you want to even have the same bit of content that's repurposed from a video to a blog to a podcast to an interactive quiz, you'll be hitting all of the different sensory points from someone, building trust gradually. Remember, this is all about, be my friend. And then when they are built up enough trust, then when it becomes to buy my shit, you shouldn't meet much resistance. So that's the strategic aspect of it. Now, from next, the step is the production and the creation of it. And that's the bit I wanted to sort of get to for the kind of remainder of this talk. Because the distribution side of things we'll have to cover in a different session. But from here, it's all about content creation, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. So, as I said, content has 4 different flavors: video, written, interactive, and video, audio, written, and interactive. As a little show of hands in the chat, could you let me know which one of those is your absolute favorite one to do? And obviously, you can't say none of them. That doesn't apply here. So if you like video, give me a V, text, an A or an I. You write the whole thing or the first letter if you like. But it'd be good to get an idea of what's your favorite type of content to create. Video, do you like doing written blogs? Do you like doing audio or interactive? What do we like? Okay, so we've got videos, text, video, vids, great. Interactive video, cool. I'm pleased that there's a lot of the video aspect of it coming, because actually, as you go through this, I think video it's the most powerful one. However, it's also the one the easiest to repurpose. And let me show you why. I always say start with video, because video is at the top of the content machine. And I'm going to show you what a content machine is. And again, as I mentioned, this is about how I look to create content. I'm video first, even live video to a degree. Well, actually, not to a degree. I like doing live videos as well. But video is number one. The point, though, is it doesn't matter what, in a sense, where you start. If you're just starting out and you're not comfortable with using video or anything like that, simple thing for me is don't be boring. Find your voice, find your own unique style, and just stick with it. You cannot aim to be. You can get inspiration from others, but don't copy, because what we're all about is authenticity. And I'll talk as we move into the sort of this AI era, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a little while. Authenticity is going to become prized more than anything. So yeah, you got to start finding your voice. And I find that there's a lot of vanilla content. If you want to test this, grab your phone, go through your Instagram feed, and just scroll through your Instagram. And I did it earlier today. And what I noticed is there's a hell of a lot of video, but there's also there's very few primary colors seem to be used in content as well, especially in the stuff I saw. There's a lot of white, a lot of beige, a lot of pastels, and it just sort of blends in. Nothing really stands out. And then you get every now and again, you'll get one or two that are using primary colors, and it really pops. So there's, that for me was like, okay, I noticed this a while ago, which is why AE's branding is pretty much primary colors. I use a few pastels, but I don't use many of them because I know it kind of stands out. This world is noisy. We see about 1,500 sales and brand messages every day. And if you think about content frequency, and I get asked this a lot as well, it's like, well, what's how often should we be posting? How often should we be doing it? Are my clients not going to get bored? Are people not going to get tired of me? I don't think you can create enough content for people to get tired of you, because you're asking a lot of human beings when you've got that much content hitting them every day, and you put a post out and you want them to stop, react to it, process it, act on it and move on, having seen it once, you're asking a lot. If you think about how you arrived at this webinar, right? How many times have you seen the invitation? This might be the first time that you're here, but you might have seen the emails from the previous ones. A hell of a lot of people sign up from the 1 hour 1 hour before the email I send out. I get most of the people sign up from that particular one. And you think, well, if I'm sending what, 3 emails to someone in one day, isn't that too much? You need to be noisy to stand out. But a lot of it comes back down to that key word again of relevance. If it's relevant to your customer and if engaging, they'll respond. If it's not relevant, they'll tune out. Simple. So ask yourself a question. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be, Slash the rock star, or just like anybody else? There's nothing wrong with this. But for me, it's just be a rock star. What does rock star content look like from your point of view? And it's not playing it safe. Everybody plays it safe. Everybody is it's quite unimaginative, playing to the crowd. If you understand who your target client is, talk to your target client and forget about everybody else. You can't be all things to all people. You've just got to be focused on who your ideal person is, who you want to be sat in front of when they walk into your clinic, and create the content for that person. There we go. So creating live content. I think live content, something like this, is equivalent of a gig. So you are here, you turned up listening to my gigs. And I love doing it. If I was to push this out on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, that'd be cool just as well. But I do those for in a slightly different way and create a different type of content for that. But ultimately, if you're not doing, or you haven't done live broadcasting, it's something that I really advise you to do, because a couple of things happen. One is it really, really sharpens your presenting skills. Gives you a lot of confidence and a lot of insight, because you can't record it. There's no do-overs. You've just got to get used to it, and you find your rhythm and your way of speaking, your pacing, and if people enjoy it, yeah, you get a kick out of it. It's something to enjoy doing. Who here has or regularly does lives? Just again, a Y or an N. No, not regularly. No. Okay, cool. Well, used to. You'd get yes, but not regularly. Awesome. So some of you got some familiarity with it. Consistency is quite key. I would think about creating a weekly moment. Welcome to Ascetic Entrepreneurs Weekly Moment. You are here. All my marketing drives to this one particular point, and then from here, that's the part. This is what we use essentially for to follow up, etc., etc. So it's a similar sort of thing. If you can drive everybody to a live or something like that where you're adding value, it really does help build trust. So the question you're going to ask them, and this is we get into this point, right, is I'm going to show you how to repurpose content. Now, creating content is hard. It's a ball ache, right? It's time consuming, and you need to have an understanding of some tech platforms. I'm going to help try and make it as simple as possible, but I would say start small and scale up on this. So this is how I do it. This is how I repurpose my content. So the first thing we do, well, obviously, is create it. So let's take this video, for example. So it's a live vid. If I was sticking it out on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, first thing we do is then take it and I download it onto my Mac. I'll take a screenshot of the actual event. In fact, I'll do that now. Here we go. So this screenshot, when you see it up on YouTube or in MAETRIX, this screenshot is going to be the thumbnail that you'll see. And that's the first step. So you'll take the live video, save it, take a screenshot of the clip, and download it. Step number 1, nice and easy. Then you've ticked box number 1. You've done video. So then, well, how do we create the other elements of it? I'll skip through all of this. Hang on a second. I can make this a little bit faster. We skip through. Hang on. So sorry about that. Just got lost. So first step, create the video. Create your pillar content, your weekly moment. Repurpose that into, there we go. Save it onto your hard drive, and then you can actually take smaller clips from that one big video. Great question popped up in a second ago, so I got distracted. My kids are messing around outside. Is what's the best editing app to trim and edit a video? Do you know what I use? I use iMovie, which it comes with the Mac. It's just the basic software. Canva, you can actually edit in Canva as well. Some people use, all sorts of different editing systems, like Final Cut Pro. I just keep it simple, because ultimately all I'm doing with trimming and editing is, as you said, David, is you're just taking out some of the fluff, making it shorter. iMovie, if you've got access to iMovie, I use that. Canva is a good one you can use as well. There's another system called Subtitle. And the only advantage about using platforms like Subtitle or Canva is you can change the sizing. So when I'm creating content for social, I generally use the same size, which is square, because it's easy to repurpose. If it's going out on YouTube or anything like that, I leave it as kind of landscape. But a tip is do this yourself initially, and then find an editor or someone who can do it for you. So I've got Miller, who takes the long form content and she chops it up for me, because it can be quite time consuming. Yeah, do it yourself first, get understanding what your rhythm is, and then you can outsource all of that. Podcast. So next step is we take the video, and what you can do if you take it into your editing system is you can actually output as an MP3 file. So what Miller does is when she's editing the video, she takes it, turns it into an MP3 file, just an audio file, and that's your podcast. And all I do is I put a little intro and a little outro and chuck it out. There is my podcast. So I've already creating content. I've created video, the same video, and a podcast from the same live I've done. I chop the content up into small bite-sized pieces, and then you've got your reels or anything like that. And it is really, really effective. Again, if you're interested in looking at this sort of process for to repurpose, going into text. Anybody guys use anything like Rev? So there's a system called rev.com. Actually, what I'm going to do is just in the chat, I'm going to pop in some of the systems that I use. You can have a look at these. Rev.com, Libsyn. So Libsyn is an online podcast hosting platform, and Rev is what you can use to transcribe. So you can transcribe the video into text. So those of you who like, putting blogs and things like that out, you can get it done that way, and it costs about $1 a minute. So if you've got, say a 10-minute, audio file, 10-minute video, it's not that expensive to have it converted into a Rev file, transcribed, and then you can edit it yourself to save you a bit of time. Remember, all this is just trying to save you time. In interactive scorecards, quizzes, things like that. Has anybody got anything like that? Anybody using any sort of scorecards or quizzes for your clients? I use scorecards quite a lot, and they are really quite cool because they're this really engaging. And there's a website called Score App, I think it is, Score App, which is where I use mine. And actually, I'll pop a quick link in to it. There we go. It's just scoreapp.com. There we go. Cool. So you can put on things like skincare questionnaires, all those sorts of things to help your clients engage with your content. How does your skin rank with a score out of 10? Is your skin summer ready? Take our test. All these different things are really engaging, and people love to hear about it. So again, I would sort of start with video, but then you can create the podcast. You've got the blog. You've got the opportunities to create scorecards, and relatively simply. And then you've got your 4 flavors of content. Now, as a caveat, I would start with video, start small and work your way out of it. Don't try and build everything in one go, because it will totally overwhelm you. So, from here, one video, actually I'll do it on this one so you can see where my cursor is. One video, one Facebook Live, take a screenshot, download the video. You can then give it an MP3 file, which we use as a podcast. You can then have that taken into something like rev.com, which then will transcribe it. You can pop it onto your blog. You can stick that video onto a YouTube channel, have the video cut up into smaller segments, and you can use it on your Instagram post. You can repurpose the blog as a LinkedIn article. You can repurpose it as a Facebook post. You can use it as a mail shot. And each one of those, what I would do is put the video onto YouTube and link the video in the mail shots, the Facebook posts, the LinkedIn articles, because what you're doing essentially is you're turning a long form piece of content into a short form piece. And this ecosystem of content, yes, it takes time, but you're literally covering all the sensory components of your clients. You're surrounding them with content. And the other thing you could also do is, if you have the discipline of it, is just do one of these a day. So do the video on one Monday, put your podcast out on a Tuesday, your blog goes out on a Wednesday, your YouTube links there on a Thursday, Fridays Instagram, Saturdays LinkedIn, Sundays Facebook, and an email post. Again, if you're outsourcing some of this to your team, giving them something like this to work from will make it much, much simpler. Who here has a social media team? Yes? No? Okay. Outsourcing social media. I hear this. Well, am I going to get the same quality of content if I do it myself? If you use something like this, you're greatly increasing the quality that your team will produce. Because what I often see with content when people outsource it, so that's just going to come off this, we've got a bit of time, is that it's an abdication rather than a delegation. So because it's not, maybe some of us aren't that comfortable creating it, we create it for a while, and then as soon as we've got the opportunity or resources to bring someone in to manage our social media for us, it's like, there you go, you deal with it. Phew, glad I got rid of that. And that's, I still have total control over what is created for Aesthetic Entrepreneurs, because I create it. And it's having that weekly video that then you can then repurpose. And if you give something like that to your team, and again, I'm happy for you to take this and share it with your team, you'll retain an element of quality control, because ultimately they create the content and you can sign it off. Simple. So I noticed that was a quick fire blast through the content machine, because what I wanted to do, so before we sort of pause for breath and questions, I think, did any questions pop up? Okay, cool. How can we get a quick win from our 5-star reviews? Are your 5-star reviews video or are they written? Written. Okay. I'm going to show you right now something that you can do. So I promised you earlier that I would give you an introduction to a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence. Now, I've actually been using AI for quite a while, because all of that content creation is quite time consuming. And the time consuming part of it sometimes is actually in not so much the formulation of ideas, but getting everything created, writing scripts, blogs, that kind of thing. And AI tools have come on quite a lot in the last sort of 6 months. So who here, just a quick straw poll, who here has used an AI content tool? You just pop it in there. Yes, no, no, no. Okay, a few have, a few haven't. Yes, cool. Okay, so a bit of a mixed bag. So yeah, I really like them. I think that they are definitely the way forward in terms of content creation. The watch out for it though, for me, is around a couple of things around plagiarism, filters in Google. Because if you create AI content, copy, paste it, stick it in a blog, the Google plagiarism bots are getting clever, and they'll start to penalize AI content. And the second thing is, for me, there's no substitute for authenticity or vulnerability. You're going to get a lot of AI-based content coming through. And let me just show you how I've been using AI, and this might help. So it's kind of like here's one I did earlier. So this is Jasper, which is a system, it's a web-based platform that I've been using for a while. Let me just make that, there we go. You don't need to see all of that. And prepping before we came on today, what I did is I went into Jasper chat, and I asked Jasper to create 10 Twitter posts on the advantages of using medical grade skincare rather than high street. That's a conversation topic I often hear. Popped it in, and lo, Jasper has given me 10 Twitter posts on the advantages of using medical grade skincare. Actually, some of them are pretty good. You know, dermatologists swear by medical grade skincare because it's higher potency and concentration of active ingredients. Don't settle for less. So what I have here is actually 10 topics. So if you think about going back to what we talked about earlier with your strategy, your strategic approach to your content, you would have, 40 different topics. So you could pop into, Jasper, you could put something in like, medical or skincare solution for someone, who's embarrassed about acne, something like that. And you'll get 10 topic headers from there. So one of those 10 topics, I took one. I thought, okay, that's quite cool. I think it was the one I took about why it makes a difference in your skin. So then I asked Jasper to write a 5-minute video script on why products are made to a higher standard than over-the-counter products that make a difference to your skin. Bang. I get 10. I've got a video script here that I could use if I was doing a piece to camera. So I could literally read that out with my phone in front of my face. And I've just created a video content. I then asked Jasper to write a blog on why someone should invest in medical grade skincare. And I got this. And this is, I actually thought this was really, really good. There's 4 or 5 different topic points about why someone should invest in medical grade skincare. It's really useful. So useful, yeah? Didn't stop there though. There's another tool that I've been using, which is called Pictory. And when I had gave me the question about reviews, how you can quick win on using reviews, I took that blog, and what Pictory is essentially is an AI video creator, and I pasted that blog into Pictory, and it created a video. Now I've not seen the video yet. It's just finished downloading while we were talking. So I'm going to try and play it. I've not seen this yet, as I said. So I'm going to try and play it. So just bear with me 1 second while I dig it out.
We all want clear, healthy-looking skin. But with so many skincare products out there, it can be difficult to know which ones are worth the investment. One option that is gaining popularity among beauty enthusiasts and dermatologists alike is medical-grade skincare. Medical-grade skincare products are formulated with higher concentrations of active ingredients and are only available through licensed professionals like dermatologists and plastic surgeons. These products are made to a higher standard than over-the-counter products and can really make a difference in your skin's health and appearance. Here are just a few of the benefits of investing in medical-grade skincare. Higher concentrations of active ingredients. Medical-grade skincare products contain higher concentrations of active ingredients that are designed to penetrate deeper into the skin than over-the-counter products. This means that they can provide more targeted results for specific skin concerns like acne, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, and more. Better quality ingredients. Medical-grade skincare products are formulated with better quality ingredients that have been clinically tested and proven effective. Many over-the-counter products contain fillers or low-quality ingredients that may not be as effective at improving your skin's health and appearance. Personalized recommendations. When you invest in medical-grade skincare, you're getting personalized recommendations from licensed professionals who can evaluate your skin type and recommend the right combination of products that will work best for you. This means that you're not wasting money on products that may not be effective for your specific needs. Real results. The results speak for themselves. People who use medical-grade skincare often see significant improvements in their skin's texture, tone, and overall appearance. By investing in high-quality ingredients, you're giving your skin the best possible care, which can lead to long-lasting results. Peace of mind. When you invest in medical-grade skincare, you can have peace of mind knowing that you're using high-quality ingredients that have been clinically tested and proven effective. You don't have to worry about harmful chemicals or low-quality ingredients that may do more harm than good. While medical-grade skincare may be more expensive than over-the-counter options, it's important to remember that you're investing in high-quality ingredients that will make a real difference in your skin's health and appearance. Think of it as an investment in yourself. When you look good, you feel good too. In conclusion, if you want clear, healthy-looking skin that glows from within, don't settle for anything less than medical-grade skincare. By investing in high-quality ingredients and personalized recommendations from licensed professionals, you can achieve real results for your specific needs.
I don't think that was too bad. What do you guys think? I'm actually quite blown away. Obviously, a little bit of editing and tweaking with that, but considering that piece of content was created by AI from start to finish. So the key of all of this, remember, is the question that I asked it. And that is when the human aspect of it has to come into it all. So all I did, did I have anything? All I did was go into Jasper, ask it a question, gave me 10 tips, took one of those, asked it to create a video script, which I could use to create my own video script, created a blog using the same thing, took that blog, pasted it into Pictory. Pictory then chose those clips based on what I'd written and created a video using that AI voiceover. Now, you can, if you're using Pictory, you can substitute clips out. You can use your own voiceover and you can edit that as well. But that took no time. And this is what I wanted to kind of show you, is this is what's possible with the current tech. It's only going to get better. And today your point was about the fake Google reviews. You could copy the Google review, paste it into Pictory, and have an AI voiceover and an AI image or video talking through your over your Google review. But what I say is AI is not, it's not the panacea. It's a tool to help you create content quicker. But the key is you still have to understand who your target client is, what their challenges are, what their goals are, how you help them solve those problems or achieve those goals, and what actions you want them to take. And then you can take those and create the content that's appropriate yourself. But I just thought I'd give you a bit of an insight into, the AI world that's coming down the road and get a little bit ahead of it. So go and have a play with them. There's free trials on Jasper, Pictory. Go and have a play, see what you create. Be really interested to see see what kind of things that you can come up with. And I just did it on medical grade skincare. It's all a bit of fun. So there we go. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is, we've got a couple of minutes, is I'm going to open up for a live Q&A. There's not many of us on tonight. So, and what a treat they have missed, apart from me fumbling around for 5 minutes trying to work out what I'm doing. But feel free to, if you want to drop a question into the chat, if you want to come off mute and ask a question, over to you guys. Anything that I can help with, feel free.
Hello.
Hey, who's that? Who we got?
It's Heather. Hiya.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Unwell, so sorry I sound horrible, but I hate typing in the thingy. So you mentioned on the, it was right back at the beginning, but with the touch points and the different platforms, we don't actually actively engage in many platforms currently. Mm-hmm. Primarily it is Instagram and Facebook, but then Instagram just shares it automatically to Facebook. Mm-hmm. We don't use TikTok or, well, I don't know what else there is, YouTube or whatever else. That's about it. We've got emails and we have discussed doing some sort of newsletter, but with the overwhelm that we're feeling at the moment, really, it's or me mainly within the business, who's meant to do all the social media and content creation, I feel really uncomfortable with having so many touch points or so many different platforms to have to use or consider using.
Okay.
Does that make sense? How would you suggest managing that, and where to really start and home in on before?
I would get really comfortable and really useful doing one or two platforms. That a lot of it comes down to your clients. So it's go where the goodies are. Okay. So do you know what platforms that your clients, or most of your ideal clients, are on?
Some would be using, mainly it is Instagram or Facebook. Some no social media at all, because we're kind of 30 and upwards, but a lot of our ideal clients are maybe a little bit more mature, so they wouldn't be using social media, but some are really, really active on it, and they love some of the videos that we've done in the past few months. But then some again are kind of quite like emails, but then they don't really check in on them too often either. So it's a really mixed bag and quite difficult for us to gauge what's best. Yeah. Hence why we haven't done the newsletter yet, and we've just stuck to Instagram and Facebook.
But this is why we sort of spread the content load, if you like, because if you're just posting on Instagram, you're asking a lot of Instagram to do. But what I would do, it's a bit of a sort of think out, is don't completely discount YouTube. Because you think about YouTube is owned by Google, therefore it's searchable. So it will turn up in the search engines, it turns part of your SEO strategy. So what you could do is just create a YouTube page and literally just dump your videos on there. When you're sending your emails out to people, you could always put a link to your YouTube channel in the email. Okay. So, because I know people say, well, I'm not on social media. You don't have to be on social media to watch YouTube. You can just you don't even have to have an account. You just click on the link and you can watch it. So it gives them a different opportunity to engage with you. I do think that an email strategy is key. It's like QR codes. They went out of fashion for a while. They're back with a vengeance. Okay. I'm seeing and sensing quite a big pushback towards social media at the moment, especially post-pandemic. Some people really don't like it. Facebook is going through some real challenges at the moment with reach. I've had a Facebook group for 5 years, and recently I could put one post out and the reach is just completely strangled. So I'm not really prioritizing Facebook either. AE is moving to a email, LinkedIn, Instagram primary, where we were Facebook for years. So the waters can shift, but I would definitely say part of the data that you want to capture is that email address, and the newsletter that you're thinking of creating, I would say don't think about creating it and create it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no worries. So anybody, if you want to talk to me more about this, and jump on a strategy call with me. So part of what we do on those calls is help you understand where you're at, give you some solutions, some quick fixes, and then obviously looking at, if you want to work with AE and us as we move forward, there's your opportunity to do so. It's not a sell. I don't sell. If you want to work with me, you want to work with me, but it's a great opportunity. If you book a call, we have a one-to-one, and I'll work with you to understand the challenges, give you some pointers if I can, and then we take it from there. So the link's in the chat, if you want to jump on for that. And Sebastiano, I like TikTok, but the problem I found is you can't really target your local clients. If I'm being really honest with you, TikTok is not a platform that I am massively familiar with. I think for a number of reasons. One is I don't like it, and I don't have a massive amount of time to explore different platforms. My question to you would be, if you try and understand where your clients are, and this links into your question as well, Rachel, which is, as I sort of said to Heather, go where the goodies are. Find out where your clients are and target that one. Pick one. And if it's Instagram, most of you guys are on Instagram, so that's where we aim for. A lot are on LinkedIn, but we've got a different strategy for LinkedIn. So find out where they are and then ruthlessly target that particular platform. Ruthlessly target it. And don't be afraid of oversharing. Don't be afraid of over communicating. I'm pretty much guarantee that you won't be able to create enough content to completely bore your clients. And think of it from like TV advertising. How many times do you see a TV advert before you actually act on it? And you act when it's relevant to you. So, you might have seen the same advert for the same food item for a month. And then when you're hungry, suddenly it's relevant because, I've got to have that. That looks nice. Yeah, we'll have that tomorrow. Bam, relevance. If the content's not being created, then it doesn't matter how relevant it is. There's nothing for your clients to engage with. Has that been useful for you tonight? Has that helped? Do I have a suggested template strategy for newsletter at all? When you say template, do you mean actually a format layout for the newsletter? If so, yes. Yes, I do. That's a subject for another call. My hour is up. Glad that was helpful. So listen, guys, like I said, book in the strategy call. Check out the platforms I spoke to you about. I will give you a final little word of warning / advice. Don't go down a rabbit hole with them. Have a look. If you think, do you know what? Yeah, this could work for me. Have a play, but don't spend hours and hours and hours trying to perfect it, etc., etc. It's AI. You are like at the pointy end of it. Most people I know, imagine if you looked around the market that you're in, the aesthetics market, most people aren't using, as we discovered, there's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of who's using AI, but I'm pretty sure there's not many people using AI video. So it's early stage tech, accept it as that. It's, so there are going to be bits that aren't quite working, a bit clunky, but just have a play with it. Be interested to get your feedback on it. Share it with me on Instagram. Share it with, if you do an AI video, I'd love to see it, just to see what kind of sort of things that you're up to and what you create. And then, yeah, book a strategy call with me. Jump in. We'll go through anything that you need to go in through, and we'll take it from there. We're back next week, 7 o'clock. The topic, if you want to know what we're going to be covering next week, is drum roll. Should know this, shouldn't I? Don't feel massively prepared tonight. I've done well. Yeah. Next week, we're looking at client journeys and the world's most profitable business model. I'm going to walk you through the ideal client journey you can create. Once you've got all your sort of content created, how do you move your clients through your business and generate the maximum amount of revenue possible for each client? So if those of you missed us and watching it on replay, how do we book a strategy call? Great question. The best question I've been asked all evening. Thank you, Dave. There's a link just there in the chat. but you're going to get an email from me as a follow-up with this, with a link in it anyway. And then I will see you guys next week, 7 o'clock, and we're going to go through business models and the most profitable business model around. And you'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to be trying demoing any tech next week. So so it should be plain sailing. And I really appreciate your understanding and your patience for that one. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. Have a great evening. Speak to you soon. Bye now.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you. Bye-bye.